So one motivation is based on a poem that I've recited several times. And the other motivation is from Lama Zopa Rinpoche's book, How to Practice Dharma. And of course, there's a contrast. Both, I think, are very valid. One is perhaps more, one might say, more traditional, more tough, perhaps more profound. But I think hearing both of them and then reflecting on them will be interesting. After that, we'll engage in, we'll continue our investigation of a few of the verses from Shantideva, and then we'll have some discussion. After the motivation, of course, we'll have some quiet practice. Okay, so the first part of the motivation. But before that, even, we should make sure that our posture is upright, that we are present where we are. We may have been already quite busy this morning with various things. Or you may just have woken up, so therefore still adjusting to the waking state. So bring your attention to your body on the cushion or chair. Take a few deep breaths and relax with the out breath. Let the back be upright. The front of the body open. Remembering the significance of that, together with the dignity and self-confidence, there's also the openness and the warmth of the posture. So welcoming posture, it's not closing off, not closing up, but in the spirit of the great vehicle, Mahayana, it's an open posture, ready to work with others. So let there be a stillness in the body due to the slowing down. Also a stillness in the mind, together with a sense of relaxation, not stiffness, not uptightness, not trying too hard, but also not being too loose or too casual about it. So together with the relaxation, a sense of being attentive, alert. So for the first part of the motivation, please listen very carefully to this poem by the late American poet Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, and who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last? And too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So that's one aspect of motivation, to be present, to pay attention, to be, as she says, content with being idle and blessed. There's an awareness of the inevitability of death, which comes too soon. And there's an understanding of the preciousness of this life. However, let's hear another way of approaching our existence, if you like. And we're not trying to create a conflict between these two aspects, but we can see that there is depth to both of them. And the main point is to get us to reflect on this ourselves and use our own intelligence. So this is from Lama Zopa Rinpoche, the spiritual director of the center. We try to practice, but somehow our mind is too weak. We haven't done enough meditation on impermanence and death, the suffering of the lower realms, or the general shortcomings of cyclic existence, samsara. Somehow, in the depths of our heart, we don't want to face it. Afraid that if we renounce samsaric pleasure, we'll lose all our fun, all our happiness. The gap between logical understanding and heart yearning can make us feel quite strange. And so we ignore the meditations on the various kinds of samsaric suffering and concentrate only on visualizing beautiful objects. This can really make us crazy. So when there's a battle between the worldly mind and the holy mind, there are great hindrances to our Dhamma practice. Somehow, we never seem to have time to do our practice. We can't even manage to recite one mala of a mantra. We sincerely want to meditate, but always find a reason to postpone it. This is completely the fault of the thought of the 8 worldly dharmas. There's always something else that we have to do. It's quite funny when you look at it. We always manage to find time to sleep, eat, talk, go to the movies, do unnecessary things. But because we're following the thought of the 8 worldly dharmas, the 8 worldly feelings of, to remind us, being very caught up in pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and criticism, good reputation and bad reputation, those 8. Because of that, we always find 1,000 important reasons for not meditating. Weeks, months, years go by without our practicing the dharma. We always plan to do it later, 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 later. After some time, after some time, after some time. Then suddenly death arrives. The Lord of Death doesn't say, oh, you haven't finished your Dharma practice, I'll give you special dispensation. I'll wait until you've finished. Death doesn't wait. So spend some time reflecting on these, on this motivation, and then we'll engage in some quiet stabilization practice. The mind wanders, bring it back. Remember Shantideva's instructions to guard our practice. We have to guard our minds, and the mind is really more destructive than a wild elephant. Or one should say a mad elephant. Wild elephants are not necessarily destructive, but the mind, it can take us to places that are very dangerous. So when the mind wanders, notice, bring it back to the breath. Firmly but gently. Okay. So welcome again, everybody, wherever you are. The verse I was having some problem understanding. It wasn't that difficult, actually. I just got a bit confused. The verse 59 in chapter 5, where it said, if mind, you are not made unhappy when this body is dragged and tossed about by vultures greedy for flesh, then why are you so concerned about it now? This is simply saying that, we won't be unhappy when our body is being eaten by vultures once we're dead and gone. Then it will just be a useless piece of meat to us, which is food for the vultures. So he's saying, why are you so concerned with this body now? Because that's its destination, to be eaten by vultures or whatever, burnt or buried, eaten by worms. So why be so concerned about it at this point? Why do you guard it as you guard it? Since you and the body are separate, why this problem? Please, yeah. So verse 60, chapter 5. Yeah. And he says, why don't you instead hold on to a clean wooden form? Why aren't you attached to something cleaner? What's the point of guarding a putrid, dirt-filled machine? So, remember the context of all this, like we've been saying. He's talking to ordained monks who have to be very careful with their vows and so forth. And if it was a matriarchal society with a lot of nuns, then a lady teacher or woman teacher would be teaching nuns about the same thing. And he's saying, use your imagination to separate the skin from the flesh and then see if you're still attached to what is underneath. Yeah. With the scalpel of discrimination, verse 62, separate the flesh from the skeletal frame. Having split open even the bones, look right down into the marrow. While examining this, ask yourself, where is its essence? If even when searching with such effort, you can apprehend no essence, then why with so much attachment are you still guarding this body now? What use is this body to you? If its dirty insides are unfit for you to eat, if its blood is not fit to drink, if its intestines are not fit to be sucked, at second best, it is only fit to be guarded in order to feed the vultures and jackals. Truly, this body of a human being should only be employed in the practice of virtue. So yeah, by verse 66, he does come to speak about why it is actually very useful, because we might be thinking, well, why is he just complaining and vilifying? Why is he abusing this human body, which in other contexts we call so precious and so forth? Well, of course, it should be employed in creating the causes for happiness and liberation and so forth, Buddhahood. Should only be employed in the practice of virtue. So then we have to think about that rather beautiful poem where Mary Oliver is saying, I don't know exactly what a prayer is, but she does know how to pay attention and how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what she's been doing all day. So we might go strolling wherever, in the fields, in the mountains, in our local park, perhaps not all day, but a lot of the day. So is that not good? Is that bad? Well, I'm not going to answer that. But we don't always need to talk in terms of binaries, of opposites, of conflict, for and against. But it's interesting, isn't it? Yet should you instead guard it, this body, with attachment, then what will you be able to do when it is stolen by the unsympathetic Lord of Death and given to the dogs and birds? If we're attached to it, yeah, that's being very foolish, because one day it's going to be snatched from us. It's like being attached to our, I don't know, our new whatever, our new motorbike, our new handbag, our new whatever, and then it gets stolen. How upset we are. To the extent that we're attached to something, we get very upset when it is stolen or disappears even. So what about this body which we're so attached to? It's going to disappear one way or another. This next verse I find confusing. If servants are not given clothing and so forth, when they are unable to be employed, why do you exhaust yourself looking after the flesh alone, when even though caring for the body, it goes elsewhere? Can somebody explain that to me? I just don't understand the logic of the first two lines. Do you have that verse in front of you, someone? Naveenji or somebody, can you understand that? I understand the last two lines. I can't understand the first two lines, which says, if servants are not given clothing and so forth, when they are unable to be employed. Oh, I see. I see. So when this body, is he saying when your body is useless, then also why you won't be giving it any attention, It is destined to die and to be useless and to be eaten by animals. So why are you exhausting yourself looking after it? Servants are not given clothing and so forth when they're not employed. So when your body is destined not to be employed, in a sense, why are you taking so much care of it? Is that what it means?
Yes, in the Padmakara translation, if servants who cannot be set to work are not rewarded with supplies and clothing, why do you sustain with such great pains this body which, though nourished, will abandon you? Even though you nourish your body, it will still abandon you.
Even though you nourish the body, it will still abandon you. And the first two lines, can you just repeat so I can repeat it online?
If servants who cannot be set to work are not rewarded with supplies and clothing.
If servants who cannot be set to work are not rewarded with supplies and clothing, then
why do you, then is a silence. Why do you sustain with such great pains?
Then why do you sustain with such great pain this body
which, though nourished,
will abandon you? Yeah. I hope you're getting that. So, keep, in other places, Shantideva, of course, says, look after the body. It's so precious in the sense that we can practice dharma with it, but don't overdo it, Don't get over attached to it, because it's in the wrong way, because it's not going to last. It's not going to be there. In the end, it kind of betrays us, especially if we don't take care of the mind. If we just take care of the body and don't worry about our practice, then of course there's a total betrayal, you could say. We put so much emphasis on it, but it cannot, it cannot help us long term. In fact, it just, as we get older and closer to death, it can just give us more and more and more problems. And then it completely conks out, it completely packs up. The aggregates pack up. And then we have a lot of, if we haven't worked with our mind, then we have a lot of fear and pain and unhappiness when we see that it is disintegrating. We have to part with it. It's like getting very, very attached to a hotel room or a guest house that we've been in for a little while, not realizing we, at some point, very soon we have to move on. So who would get very attached to a room that you're going to leave soon? So now, having paid my body its wages, I shall engage it in making my life meaningful. However, if my body is of no benefit, then I shall not give it anything. Yeah, can we do that? Very difficult. If I haven't done my prayers today or done some benefit today, Shantideva was saying, then I shouldn't eat today. I shouldn't, I shouldn't take care of my body if it's not doing good things today for other people and for my own, happy future. Then I should just ignore my body. I should conceive of my body as a boat, a mere support for coming and going, and in order to benefit all others, transform it into a wish-fulfilling body. Now, while there is freedom to act, I should always present a smiling face and cease to stop frowning and looking angry. I should be a friend and a counselor to the world. Wonderful. So he's showing what we can do with this body, with this marvelous body, which he couldn't do with a scorpion's body or a snake's body or even a dog's body. Although dogs, of course, can be of tremendous service, I must say, and faithful to some people who really need them. Say some, lonely person or old person or sick person. And then dogs can be trained to be incredibly beneficial for humans. That's true. There are these blind dogs, at least we had them in England, trained to look after blind people, to, take them for walks and so on and so forth. So of course, dogs can be trained to be incredibly beneficial. And even if they're not trained, they could be very, very, very beneficial for humans. I'm a bit biased, so I don't think cats can do so much. But anyway, cats also can be of great comfort to people. But this human body, we should see as a boat which can be, transformed into a wish-fulfilling body. Wish-fulfilling. That's an amazing phrase, Through the power of the mind, we can make this body wish-fulfilling. The body on its own can't do it. The body is very limited. But with the mind, it can be made to perform many, many tasks for others. Physically, of course, it has limits. It can only do so much. But the power of a creative and beneficial mind is extraordinary, because then we can arrange things, organize things, organize people, organize societies and so forth to benefit others, We can do a lot online to benefit others, you could say. You can work from home. You don't have to run around everywhere now. So that's a clear sign, isn't it, that we transform this body through utilizing the mind. Body on its own can't do it. And while we have time to act, she's giving some very practical advice, which I think is very good. One doesn't see so many smiling faces, actually, especially people you don't know. If you smile at someone you don't know, who doesn't know you, you could be in trouble. People are quite suspicious. They don't smile easily at you. Some do, but some will just frown at you and think you're really rather, rude. And also in traditional society, in India and probably elsewhere, you're not supposed to look at people and smile. Woe betide you if you smile at the wrong person who's in the company of their elders or the people who are supposed to be their guardians or their husbands or wives, then you're in trouble. So we have to be careful. We have to be culturally intelligent. But at least we could stop frowning, I suppose. We could stop frowning. We could look at ourselves in the mirror and check if our frown lines are still, very strong. So we can work on that, having a smiling countenance. Or you can just Google smiling faces or something, so you know what a smile looks like. And so you know what a frown looks like. And we can try and avoid the frowns as much as we can. Then some more practical advice, which I think is fantastic, actually. I should desist from inconsiderately and noisily moving around chairs and so forth, as well as from violently opening doors or closing them for that matter, I should always delight in humility. The stork, the cat, and the thief, by moving silently and carefully, accomplish what they desire to do. A bodhisattva too should always behave in this way. Yeah, we don't have to make a big deal all the time. Of course, there are many ways a bodhisattva can benefit the world. You could be a rock star who can be incredibly beneficial for the world, through your motivation, your lyrics, your act. You could be up there thumping around on the stage, really moving around a lot with very, very powerful, equipment, magnifying your voice. That could also be a bodhisattva. We don't know. So we don't always have to be quiet like Shantideva is saying here, because he's saying you should always behave in this way. But anyway, we have to interpret everything, right? He's not saying all bodhisattvas have to be like a cat or a thief, moving silently and carefully. Carefully, yes, but silently, not necessarily, Anyway, that is up for discussion. But I definitely think some of the rock stars and so forth, I'm not sure that they're bodhisattvas, but certainly their music can bring a tremendous, and their lyrics can bring a tremendous amount of insight and happiness to people. So one should not put them down because they are loud and so forth. With respect, I should gratefully accept unsought after words that are of benefit and that wisely advise and admonish me. At all times, I should be the pupil, the student of everyone. So yeah, sometimes people give us advice we don't want to hear, or we haven't asked for it. So we say, why are they giving me this advice, which maybe I don't want to listen to even. But Shantideva is saying that, I should be grateful actually, because sometimes this advice is very useful. I got a strong message like this yesterday. I had sent a reply to somebody who was offering to work for Root Institute in the office, because we put out an advertisement for people to help in Bodh Gaya. And because I was in a hurry and not being careful, I wrote back to this person a very quick reply, which was, okay, I'll contact you later tomorrow, something like that, just like that. And this person was, quite upset. And later I realized why. I mean, this person then replied saying, I hope this is not the way you reply to everybody. There's no need to reply to me now, because I was in a hurry and not being careful, I sent him, this person, the reply like that, whereas I should have been much more careful. I should have thought, wow, this person has taken the trouble to read the advertisement and offer to help. The least I could have written was, thank you very much, so-and-so, for your message. I will try and get back to you tomorrow, with regards, and give my name and designation. But I just wrote back, okay, I'll call you tomorrow, or I'll contact you. So yeah, later I realized that was not good. So in that sense, I found the words of that person initially a bit too much, but I realized that I should take as wise advice to be more careful and not be in a hurry, especially since I'm someone who keeps on repeating, slow down, pay attention. So this was a clear indication that one is not following one's own advice. So it's like a slap in the face, So we can be a pupil, we can be a student of everyone. And it doesn't matter what that person's motivation is, It's not the question of whether they are bodhisattva or advising us out of patience or love. Doesn't matter if they're not. But for oneself, it's good advice. So one tries to learn from it, I suppose. I should say, well said to all those who speak dharma well. And if I see someone doing good, I should praise them and be well pleased. Yeah, again, we have to be skillful about this. We keep on, someone doing something good, we keep on saying they'll think it's flattery or trying to impress other people. But I guess Shantideva may be saying that we should try at least not to be envious and jealous of people who are doing good things, which we can't do. So we should praise them and mentally be happy. He says, I should discreetly, quietly talk about the good qualities of others and repeat those that others recount. If my own good qualities are spoken about, I should just know and be aware that I have them. But, not get all, arrogant about it. Don't need to advertise it, All deeds of others are the source of a joy that would be rare, even if it could be bought with money. Therefore, I should be happy in finding this joy in the good things that are done by others. Okay, I guess the first line is like all good deeds of others are the source of a joy that would be rare, even if it could be bought with money. So money can buy us many things, but it can't buy us maybe the joy that one can have by rejoicing in the goodness of others. Therefore, I should be happy in finding this joy in the good things that are done by others. Of course, the problem is nowadays, I find that, especially if we are a little bit addicted to media and news, there isn't very much there to rejoice about, It's as though a lot of people are doing a lot of rotten things, devious things, corrupt things, harmful things, violent, stupid things. So where can one rejoice in that? So maybe when we do find somebody doing something good, we should really rejoice, like finding a jewel in a garbage heap. Through doing all this, I shall suffer no losses in this life, and in future lives, I shall find great happiness. But the fault of disliking their good qualities will make me unhappy and miserable. In future lives, I shall find great suffering. So this is like, what my teacher Lama Zopa Rinpoche says. If we rejoice in others' goodness and good fortune, or if the fact that they have more than us or are better than us in some way or whatever, then that's the cause for our success later. But if we are envious, jealous of others, that creates the cause for unhappiness, great suffering. We'll just do one more verse and then we can have some discussion. When talking, I should speak from my heart on what is relevant, making the meaning clear and the speech pleasing. I should not speak out of desire or hatred, but in gentle tones and in moderation. This, I think, is amazing. I often read things and I'm thinking, why, there are many intelligent articles one finds here and there. I mean, I receive the Indian Express and there are usually 4 articles in the central pages every day, except on Sundays. And some are really excellent and some are very well written, very intelligent. You can tell the person has done a lot of research. Sometimes I just wish, and this is my own prejudice, I totally accept this is a prejudice of mine, but, or a kind of my own projection, but I feel sometimes people are not speaking in a heartfelt way. People are trying to be clever. They are being clever and intelligent, but are they speaking from the heart? Do I get inspirations from what they're saying? Of course, if they're talking about economics or some labor policy, I don't expect to be inspired. I mean, there's a limit to how heartfelt you can be when you're discussing matters of, like that, or matters of law. But still, I have read pieces by judges or lawyers, which are very heartfelt, very meaningful, very to the point. You can tell that person is very concerned with human beings and their happiness or their suffering, and justice for human beings. And one is reminded of the great E.F. Schumacher's book, Small is Beautiful, with its subtitle, which was Economics as if People Mattered. That seems to me a heartfelt statement. Economics as if people mattered, not as if money or the stock market or mattered. people. It's about people, right? Human beings and their pets and so forth. It's about living beings like that. And it's also about trees and plants and grass. So when talking, I should speak from my heart and not be devious, not try to be too clever, not try to hoodwink people, not be hypocritical, and talk on what is relevant. Make the meaning clear and your speech pleasing. Yeah, that's another thing. People who are sociologists, I often feel they just talk like sociologists. They seem to have their own language and phrases, which one has to look up what the meaning is, of a certain kind of phrase. Or economists, even historians, anybody, anthropologists, they all have their jargon. So do we Buddhists. So if we Buddhists, so-called card-carrying Buddhists, have to communicate with people who are not Buddhists or beginners, and if we just keep on using very highfalutin, clever language, it's not going to help people so much. They might be put off. This is what very kind Lama Yeshe, our first teacher, one of my first teachers, he used to say, we have to present the Dharma without all the jargon. Make it heartfelt, make it to the point, got to communicate with people. That was the thing, communicate. You got to make that communication with others, touch other people, their hearts. Otherwise, they will not be interested. It won't benefit them. So I hope that makes some sense. Okay, let's have some discussion. You can all unmute yourselves, and if you want to say something, you can just butt in or put your hand up. But it'll be useful to see some faces. Especially if you're asking a question, I would request that you show your face so that we are dialoguing with a face and not just a rectangle with a name on it. Gee, anybody? Nitya, are you about to launch into something? I hope so. No? Okay. Ajirji, Mayank, how are you? Good morning. Or almost it's good afternoon now. Para baj gaya. Oh, very good. Looking very fresh and happy this morning, Mayank. Glad to see that.
Yeah, I did get up on time, Kabiti. That's something to rejoice generally.
What do you mean? You got up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
No, for this teaching.
Achha, you got up at 11:15. That's good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. That's good. Very happy. Yeah. And you look like a DJ, Abhishek ji. What, are you going to play us a good rock song or something? Something meaningful and heartfelt? Thank you, Shilpi.
I wish I could play some sitar for you, but no.
Yeah, well, one day we will do that. Why not?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were learning sitar.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Haji, anybody have anything to say about what Shantideva has been saying? 1200 years ago, he said all these things. Is it still relevant? सोचिए 1200 साल हो गए. Amazing.
Kabir ji.
Ji. Ajir ji, pranam. Yes.
Pranam. Yeah, I think so what has been said is to the monks, but I am reading this commentary by Pema Chodron.
Yes.
Where she has talked about Trungpa Rinpoche. She says, Trungpa Rinpoche often spoke about the importance of respecting the body and paying attention to all the details of our life. In his Shambhala teachings, eating and dressing well are ways of perking ourselves up and developing confidence in our basic goodness. It is a fine line, however, between taking pride in our appearance and being obsessed with it.
Yes.
Upliftedness is a way of expressing our human dignity. Obsession is a way of wasting our life. Gradually, we get clear about this difference. So I think, the monks may have their vows, they have to operate within that. But probably I think what Trungpa Rinpoche is saying is a kind of balance I really find in the modern life. And I have read some time back, even Krishnamurti also saying that one should dress well. And if you have really seen Krishnamurti in his talks, he's always very well dressed. I mean, keeping in view the time of his time at that time. He was never in shorts or t-shirts or like that, always very well dressed. So I think maybe for us, we need to have this aspect also in mind, what Trungpa Rinpoche is saying and what Krishnamurti is also saying.
Yes, indeed. Very much agree. Thank you, Ajivji. Very good. Reminds me of something. There was a monk in our organization. He's still around, I think, French monk or Swiss monk. Very strong practitioner. And he always wore very, very simple robes. You know, he only had maybe one set or two sets of robes and wore very simple robes. And he was not much concerned with being very smart or anything. And Lama or Rinpoche, I can't remember whom, you know, really praised him for being very simple. But on the other hand, Lama always also used to say to some people, and maybe those people who are more having to be upfront and connect with people as teachers again and again, he told them they should be very smart. That if their robes were not clean and you know, good looking, then it would put people off, and that you have to look good for others, you know. And he would tell women, Lama Yeshe would tell women, you know, make yourself beautiful, you know, make yourself beautiful. If you, you know, put makeup on, put lipstick on, whatever. If your motivation is to look good and benefit others, you know, present something good for others, then that's okay. He didn't recommend for people to be sloppy. On the other hand, for those who are really just more interested in practice, then it's like their simplicity, their old robes and so forth, maybe not always pressed. That is also worthy of praise, because if it's the case that they are not really concerned with it, because for them the dharma is more important and these things are a waste of time, then that is also praiseworthy. But if that person is teaching others a lot and, you know, is on Zoom and so forth, then you can't look too scrappy, right? You'll put some people off. Or maybe, you know, that's why I usually shave before coming on Zoom, because I don't want to look too much like a gunda, you know. One owes it to people not to look a mess. I mean, anyway, I look a mess, but one doesn't want to add to the mess, you know. So yeah, I think what Trungpa said, Ajivji, is yeah, perfect. We should be uplifted. We should uplift ourselves because, yeah, as he says, basic sanity is what we have potentially, and that's what we need to manifest for the sake of others, so others can connect with their uplifted quality, their basic goodness, their you know, their Buddha nature. And so if being smart and elegant helps, then fantastic, you know. But one wouldn't expect Milarepa, you know, to wear, you know, suit and tie or anything. He can be there in his half-naked aspect. Like Dingo Chense Rinpoche used to be, the great master, yeah, who died in 1991, the great Dingo Chense Rinpoche, a teacher of His Holiness, or Dalai Lama. He was often naked from the waist up, you know, and so forth. So, but he had a tremendous dignity, and he would often give teachings and attend, you know, drupchens, you know, in that aspect. So, yeah, it's a fine line, and it depends. We can't all carry off, being naked from the waist up. But Dingo Chensa Rinpoche could do that. Yeah. And I guess he could do that because of the reason Shantideva gives. In the last line there, he says, in that, what did he say? In one of those verses, he said, yeah, I should always delight in humility. Apparently, according to Zongsa Rinpoche, who was a student of Dingo Chensa Rinpoche, he said Dingo Chensa Rinpoche was so kind, he would never, even though his attendants would tell people not to line up and see him at the end of a busy day or after teachings, he seemed to know who was there, and he would not allow anyone to go away without giving them a blessing or, saying something to them. When he knew there were people lining up, really wanting to see him, he would make sure he had something for everybody, something to say or a quick blessing or whatever. He was extremely kind and gentle with others. Tremendous, of course, someone who did so much to preserve the Dharma of all the traditions, all of the schools of Tibetan Buddhism, without bias. So anyway, but how we dress, how we look, how we present ourselves, it has a great effect, doesn't it, on others? The body language. We have an old good friend, seasoned Dharma student, Antonella Simonelli is with us. Antonella, hello. Hope you're well. Would you like to offer something to people? Okay. Abhishek, Naveen, Shashi. Naveenji.
I was just trying to make more sense of the verse 73.
73? Yeah. Have we got there yet? Oh, yeah.
Everyone's cats and burglars achieve what they intend. This is the Padmakara.
Yes.
By going silently and unobserved. Such is the constant practice of a sage.
Such is the constant?
Practice of a sage.
Of a sage. So this is also, I think saying that, sometimes when we do good things, we advertise, don't we? Maybe on TikTok, then on Instagram, then on Facebook, then on WhatsApp. We can, people advertise things a lot especially when they do something. Even I guess when some people go to the toilet, they want other people to know. So Shantideva is kind of saying a bodhisattva just does what has to be done to benefit others. Doesn't make high name achapne. Harek cheez ka, they don't make a circus out of everything. They just quietly do what has to be done. If they see it's really beneficial through their wisdom to do something unquietly, then they do it unquietly. If there's something that is really important, they feel, that has to be shouted out for people to benefit, then they will do that. And if, they will not think, oh, my reputation will be affected if I shout loudly or, make this statement. If they think it's really beneficial for others through their wisdom and compassion, then they will do that. Of course, not everyone can do it properly. If it's not a very wise bodhisattva, if they're a kind of baby bodhisattva, then of course people make mistakes. Even a bodhisattva can make a mistake, maybe subtle mistakes until they are very, very high bodhisattvas. But, a mature bodhisattva can do many, many things which initially might not be appreciated. Like Trungpa going to Bhutan, engaging in meditation, disrobing, stopping being a monk, coming back to Scotland, marrying this person who was only 16 or 17, and going off with her to the United States. You can imagine what kind of scandal that brought also, or yeah, he faced a lot of criticism, but that's what he did. It turned out, I think, long term to be beneficial, but I can't judge someone like that. I can repeat what Lama Yeshe said to one student once. Lama Yeshe and some of our students had gone to meet Trungpa Rinpoche. Obviously, this means before 1987 when he died. And they went to see him, and apparently he was drinking a bit when they met him. He was into his drink. So on the way back from meeting him, one of the students was complaining about Trungpa's behavior, because all of our lamas, we never see them anywhere near a bottle, let alone drinking. And Lama Yeshe really scolded that student, saying, "How dare you criticize Trungpa? You have no idea who this person is. You cannot judge this great," I don't know if he used the words, "this great Bodhisattva," but he was very annoyed with the student for being so moralistic and complaining about Trungpa Rinpoche because he was drinking. Just because someone is drinking or is married or is a farmer like Marpa was a farmer, he had a wife, he had children, he drank beer. Do we criticize Marpa? No, we regard him as one of the great masters of the Kagyu lineage, the teacher of Milarepa, through whose powerful action Milarepa quickly purified his karma and became a great being who then benefited others so much. We don't criticize Marpa, or maybe he occasionally drank too much beer, in the sense became drunk, but we can't judge. We are quick to judge people, aren't we? Because of certain sort of moralism and just not having enough wisdom, isn't it, to understand. So anyway, what else, folks? राकेश जी, आप कहाँ से अब शामिल हो रहे हैं? आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा. हाँ.
मैं हरियाणा से.
अच्छा, वेलकम. कहीं देहात से बोल रहे हैं? आपके पीछे खेत है?
हाँ सर, एक्चुअली ये फार्म हाउस है हमारा, खेत में ही रहता हूँ मैं.
Very good, farm house, very good. Someone from a more rural part of India, close to Delhi, Haryana.
Yeah, it is in just 3-hour drive from Delhi.
3 hours, अच्छा. Which side? North, south, east, west? मतलब north, south, or west? किस तरफ?
ये सर पड़ेगा, कैथल डिस्ट्रिक्ट है एक, साउथ में.
South. Okay.
हाँ जी.
Out of Delhi. Yeah. Welcome.
हाँ, चंडीगढ़ से 2 आवर की ड्राइव है सिर्फ.
चंडीगढ़. So then you sounds like north. North. आप दिल्ली से उत्तर.
नहीं, चंडीगढ़ से तो 2 घंटे की है सिर्फ.
हाँ.
ड्राइव.
हाँ, तो इसका मतलब है आप दिल्ली से उत्तर होंगे, क्योंकि चंडीगढ़ दिल्ली से 4 घंटा है उत्तर, तो आप उस तरफ होंगे ना, नॉर्थ ऑफ दिल्ली.
Yes, you can say.
दिल्ली जाने के लिए आपको दक्षिण की ओर जाना पड़ेगा ना, या नहीं? Anyway, ये तो ज्योग्राफी की मामला है. I don't want to get into geography, but maybe you can check on the map where you are in relation to Delhi. जगह का नाम क्या है? कैथल. Okay.
हाँ जी, डिस्ट्रिक्ट है.
So you are there any other people interested in Buddhism in your area? कैथल में?
Actually, I am right now in my field, so none. यहाँ पे इतना
आपका आवाज बंद हो गया. कोई नहीं.
मैं तो तुषिता मेडिटेशन सेंटर गया था.
अच्छा.
मैक्लोडगंज.
वेरी गुड. कैसे लगा?
हाँ, तो वहाँ वो काफी अच्छा है.
गुड. क्या 10 दिन
वहाँ काफी
या देखे?
नहीं सर, हम तो वहाँ गए थे, माउंटेनियरिंग का है कोई इंस्टीट्यूट वहाँ.
अच्छा.
उसके बिल्कुल जस्ट सामने, तो वहाँ 1 घंटा फ्री होता था.
जी जी।
तो वो एक घंटा हम करके आते थे। तो जब से काफी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा।
वेरी गुड।
अर्ली मॉर्निंग का सेशन वहाँ 1 घंटा फ्री होता है तुषिता मेडिटेशन सेंटर के अंदर।
जी जी, गुड।
हाँ तो हाँ जी,
वेलकम।
थैंक यू।
So, any other comments? Anything you want to discuss? Anybody?
नहीं, आपसे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है। आप तो सुनते रहते हैं तो काफी एक्सपीरियंस होता है, मतलब इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं उनको तो रिजल्ट पॉजिटिव ही आते हैं।
वेरी गुड, थैंक यू।
हाँ जी, काफी बार किया है इम्प्लीमेंट उनके ऊपर, तो एक्सपीरियंस गेन होता है। और
आइए कभी, यहाँ कुछ हिंदी में भी हैं हमारे पब्लिकेशन हम लोगों के, तो वो भी।
हाँ जी, दिल्ली के अंदर,
दिल्ली सेंटर। हाँ,
ये कौन सी लोकेशन पे रहेगा आपका?
हौस खास मेडिकल इंस्टीट्यूट से 3 किलोमीटर दक्षिण।
हाँ, हौस खास गया हूँ मैं,
और बिंदु मार्ग पे। हाँ
हाँ, ये साकेत से, शायद
हाँ
साकेत के पास ही होगा।
हाँ हाँ, वो 2
साकेत।
स्टेशन है मेट्रो से, 2 स्टेशन।
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
गुड,
जी बिल्कुल, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू।
अरुणा जी, हाउ आर यू?
Kabir ji,
हाँ जी, अजीत जी।
yeah, just for the information, I think this district called the Cathal,
यस।
यहाँ पे बहुत बुद्धिस्ट लोग हैं.
Oh,
In fact, quite a lot of people, they came to Deer Park also.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you. I heard there are some Viharas in Haryana.
Yeah,
and even
they have
some old Buddhist
Cathal.
sites, some Buddhist sites from the past also. Have you heard of them?
Many of them. One is in the Kurukshetra University, just at the border.
Wow.
It has got a very big stupa. Of course, presently it is slightly destructed.
अच्छा
हाँ, पायान ने बहुत लंबा चौड़ा लिखा है उसके बारे में.
अच्छा अच्छा,
हाँ.
अच्छा अच्छा, okay. Yeah, there must be so many vestiges of when Buddhism was quite prevalent in India,
Yeah.
which we don't know about so much. But yeah, I was hearing there are quite a few Buddhist places in Haryana and even Punjab. Yeah. So now, of course, that we have to do what we can to make it alive again, I suppose.
Exactly.
Not enough to visit monuments. What else, folks? We can stop or we can carry on for a little while. It's up to you.
And if we read Satipatthana Sutra, it is very clearly given the land of the Kurus, which is the erstwhile Kurukshetra.
Right.
Yeah.
Acha. Like that's connected with Kauravas, is it or not?
That I don't know. I don't know whether it's connected, but the land is definitely the Kurus.
Kurus.
Yeah. That is why.
Yeah.
And it was a very famous marketplace, they said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder if the Buddha ever visited that far west.
Buddha has visited near Sonipat, where Goenka ji has set up a center.
Acha.
It is called, what is that called? The Kamma Sadama.
Acha.
In fact, this place is mentioned in the Satipatthana Sutra also.
Acha.
So once I was asking one Buddhist historian, I said that did Buddha visit this area? So he said that traditionally it is believed that he visited twice, but his one visit in this area is clearly established. That is what he was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mayank, anything? How is your practice going? Are you able to do some shamatha occasionally?
Shamatha a little bit, Kabirji, here
Good.
and there, I think.
Good. Here and
Yeah.
there. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But not much.
Take
Yeah,
it.
I was hoping to join these 8 o'clock sessions in the morning.
For that you have to go to bed earlier.
No, because of the office, actually, I can attend. It's just one has to be a little more disciplined about it, I think.
I guess so. That is tends to be a prerequisite. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. I was reading something the other day. Dzongsa Rinpoche was saying, things like depression nowadays are so prevalent in so many people. And he was saying he thinks discipline, just basic discipline, is a very, very good sort of antidote. Something that is very
Lovely. Why you crying? Huh? Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Zoom discipline.
Bye-bye.
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 And bye to you. She was saying
Hello.
that, yes, hello, Ajit. Hold on a sec. I'm just talking to Mayank. So she said that discipline can get rid of a lot of these problems of depression, because, in other words, a lot of things, at least associated with depression, which help depression, are associated with lack of discipline. They can be cleared away with a proper routine, with a discipline of getting up, doing this, that, da 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 da. Having a practice, sticking to the practice, that. And that was interesting. And it makes a lot of sense. It's like that old expression, what is it? The vacant mind or the idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when we're just kind of hanging out there, not doing anything and confused, then all kinds of, darkness and depression and disturbing emotions can take over. But if we have a discipline, if we have a routine, if we have that, then there's less room, you see, less. It's like having a well-guarded house, yeah? The thieves can't get in, something like that. The only one who will be able to get in is a well-intentioned bodhisattva who comes in like a thief. But the thieves we don't want won't be able to come in. Anyway, I was just mentioning that. It made a lot of sense to me, because when I look back at times when I have felt very depressed, it also coincided with a time of lack of discipline, very much a lack of discipline. So it seems like, routines like they have in ashrams, monasteries, nunneries, very, very important, until we are at a stage where we don't need that. But as beginners, which we are, if we're honest, we need that discipline. Which, as Krishnamurti said, that word is also linked to being a disciple, to being a proper disciple, disciplined disciple. So if we can be a proper disciple, in other words, willing to learn from the Buddha and other beings, then we're more likely to be on the right path, I guess. Yasar, you're joining us quite late, but welcome.
Hi, Kabirji. Thank you. Yeah, just thought I'd catch the last half an hour or so.
Half an hour you're hoping. I don't think you'll get half an hour, sir. Unless you give a very big donation to our center.
Yeah, and I hope to be there in person also this week.
Yeah, I hope you're well. And your mother, Minotiji. Yeah.
Yeah, she's well as well. She's around only. Yeah.
When are you leaving for Bodh Gaya?
Leaving for Bodh Gaya on the 5th.
Okay, not long.
Yeah. You'll head there earlier, right? To set everything up.
I have to go for something else.
Okay.
There are some hardworking people at Root Institute already doing work there.
Okay. Great.
Anything else, folks? Or otherwise we can dedicate. I'm not in a hurry, but we can dedicate. Okay, so let's dedicate with some verses from Shantideva himself, from his 10th chapter, the dedication chapter. May sentient beings again and again make offerings to all the Buddhas, and may they constantly be joyful with the inconceivable bliss of the Buddhas. Just as they intended, may the Bodhisattvas fulfill the welfare of the world. May all sentient beings receive whatever the Buddhas have intended for them. May I live and be sustained by simple common foods, and in all my lives may I find the ideal solitude for practicing dharma. In order to fulfill the needs of beings who reach unto the ends of space, may my way of life be just like that of Manju Ghosh. For as long as space endures and for as long as living beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the misery of the world. May the teachings, which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy, be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. I prostrate to Manju Ghosh, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. So please pray for the long life and of all of our spiritual teachers. May they have long and healthy lives. May all their wishes be fulfilled. May our lives be most meaningful for others. May we never be separated from our authentic teachers and authentic Dharma in this and future lives. And please pray for Vimla Tomar, Vishad's auntie who passed away last week, for her and for anyone else we know who are sick, suffering, or who have just died. Those who are sick recover. May those who have passed away find happiness in precious human lives. So a reminder, on Monday morning, there will be, that's tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock meditation, and 6:30 p.m. we carry on. And a reminder looking forward that Venerable Jamyang will be here from Thosam Ling Center, Nunnery, in November. And she's agreed to kindly teach chapters 6 and 7 of this text, the patience chapter and the joyous effort chapter of Shantideva. She'll be here from around the 2nd or so of November until the 20th. So in that period, she will teach those, and we are planning that we might have a one-day kind of mini course with her on a Sunday possibly, or a Saturday, we'll see, which would be a morning session and an afternoon session. So that is planned, but that is to be planned. It may not happen, we'll see. So keep on watching the postings. If there is a one-day course and these other teachings by this nun, we will of course make sure you have that information a good week or 10 days in advance of it happening. Yeah. So meanwhile, take care, and thank you all very much. Yeah.